It is so key to find businesses you can trust. We are always looking for the leaders in our community who are taking that risk, starting a business. We've got one here in studio who's really done it for the right reasons and is doing a great job. Check out these reviews. Unbelievable. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone. It is the Your Little Castle show. Everybody on this planet is trying to build their own little kingdom, their own little castle. And with that, we are always highlighting the business leaders that are in our community. Sometimes it's just them and their truck. Sometimes it's them and their truck and their buddy. Sometimes it's them and their truck and 30 employees. But we like to help all the small businesses and the small business leaders in our community because they literally make the world go round. So with that, we've got another awesome example today. Puddles Plumbing, LLC, licensed, insured, and bonded, puddlesplumbing.com. Based out of Farmington. The owner is here in the building, Aaron Gray. He's an operator too, meaning he's out there actually doing the work like all the time, right?
Yeah.
And busy. And we noticed the hours. We've helped him with a little update for a cool little website because we know the websites these days. And he says, well, there's some things I'm working on here. Let's add this. Let's change that. Did that. Now we've got that available for you guys because we like to help, again, we say help our small business owners get the word out and share what they do to impact our community. With that, we start off with a good question we had we finished with last show. If you missed that first show, everybody check it out. It's on ABC Live when it airs, but then after that, it's on our YouTube channel. Go to yourlittlecastle.com. I'm going to pull it up on the wall for everybody here to see here. But if you go to yourlittlecastle.com, there we go, and I'll put this on the screen. There it is. That's our website. And if you go here, see our shows, but you can see our entire playlist. And this playlist is set up, I set up this way, it takes the most recent interview, puts it at the top of the list. So you can see all of our interviews as they go. And here's the most recent one at the top of the list. And as they go down, you can see everybody that we've had on the show. And lots of great leaders in our community doing great things to make a difference. And that's what we're highlighting people for. With that, let's get into this. We finished up. Tell me that big mistake people make. What would you say it is again? This is so true, but I want to emphasize this. They do the search, click, and they go with the first guy they see.
It's usually the sponsored ad. It's the biggest company out there, and they can come out right now. But I've been told several times that. And when they call into me, they're like, well, you're a few days out. That's always a good sign that there's more people using you. And if they call that sponsored ad, usually I'll come right out. And there's usually a big price tag with that, too.
Yeah, so you don't bite at the first offer made, right, kind of thing. It's just let them work for it a little bit. Try a couple people because you'll see. And like I said, I gave the example last show. We had one guy came in, and he was doing less work. But I was just like, Mom, just get it done. My mom was on the phone with me. She says, Carter, call your buddy. So I called my buddy. He gave me a bid and says, hell, I'll do it for that in a couple pizzas or something like that. He was so busy, I ended up running into another buddy of mine who was a client, and he says, man, I can do that for half that. How often is that the case, though? People, they just bite on the first option because they want to get the problem fixed, and they don't take time to analyze this to figure out they're overpaying.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit, honestly. We've been to a couple different people that they have multiple bathrooms, and for the same issue that they got done from the bigger company, we do it for maybe a quarter of the price, and they're like, man, I wish I'd have known, I'd have waited. And
yeah, so it's just don't bite on the first opportunity thrown at you. We see that happen all the time. So many times it's the case. What are some of the other mistakes that people make? I guess one of the big things you might run into, people try to do it, the do-it-yourselfer.
Yeah,
they're going to do it themselves, and now you're talking a big can of worms can be open there. Why is that sometimes a bad idea?
Well, sometimes you don't know how to put it back together.
Right.
I've run into that a couple times where the husband says I can do it, and he took it apart, and we end up coming out pretty late, and all I had to do was put it back together for him. And I'm usually like, man, you were so close, and he doesn't want to talk to me. But it happens quite a bit.
All right. Yeah, and it seems like it's a. I guess when you're talking about electric, you can just zap yourself, but water can be just as bad because if it gets into the electric, you got problems. But just if you get water all over the place, you end up with mold if you don't get it all cleaned up, and then it can cause a whole another mess of stuff. But plumbing is plumbing, electric. They talked about now. It says AI is coming. Have you heard about this? Artificial intelligence, and they're saying the lawyers, the accountants, their jobs are all going to go away. It's the trades that are going to have real work to still be done because they don't have robots yet to come in and go into and get up and underneath the sink. And
there's some days I wish that a robot could do it. I'd be like, go on in there. Like,
yeah. But the expertise that you have here, the plumbers and electricians will be the highest paid on the planet at that point. They make a pretty good living, but that'll make it more so. We got so many people, the population keeps growing on our little planet. It's what, 10 times what it was 200 years ago, and so here we are. Residential, commercial, probably an emphasis on residential, but you do some commercial. Tell me what you like about each and what you focus on.
Well, we do like commercial. Commercial's okay. It's just a lot bigger tools, a lot bigger everything with it.
Right.
Residential, I enjoy the interaction with a person, not a corporation. I enjoy talking to the person and fixing their problem.
So, yeah, that's what you get.
Yeah.
When you're doing a residential job, you're dealing with a homeowner
Yep.
who has a major crisis in their mind. It's a major crisis.
Yes.
And something you're going to go, well, I'm going to fix this real quick, and they're going to realize it's not as bad as they thought.
Yes.
But when you got water spraying all over the place,
Yep.
these are problems that you got to take care of, and somebody like yourself can make it look easier than it is. It's years of experience, and that's what you're really bringing to the table.
Yes. They always say that the person that has 20 years, the price tag with them comes pretty big, but I've found that I can do it about the same skill level, I think, on most jobs that the 20-year guy can do, but a lot cheaper for him. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, there you go. So, and it's just really, I mean, gosh, I'll never forget the first time I was building a computer for somebody. I did it for like $50 profit.
Yeah.
And then it had a problem, and then I had to go back and fix it. I'm like, man, I'm not going to keep building computers. But it had some bad memory, bad RAM. And so you go through all that, but price yourself accordingly, but you don't have to gouge people. You want to make sure everybody gets a fair shake for what they're doing. That's good for you long term as a business owner, right? What do you like working in the Farmington area? It's a nice, beautiful part of our little country here. About, what is it, 45 minutes, an hour from St. Louis?
It was an hour and 30-minute drive from here to Farmington.
So to get to the southern part of St. Louis, about an hour then?
Yeah, about an hour,
10 minutes.
I grew up there and born and raised there, so I just enjoy working at home.
And what is the population of Farmington? Is it, do you have any idea?
I don't know.
That one up, but I'm going to guess 20,000, something like that.
Somewhere around there.
But they need experts, and that's what I said. When you get into the trades, you got to have the expertise in every industry because they still have the same plumbing in Farmington that they got in St. Louis and New York and everywhere, except it's a lot cheaper here, and even cheaper, maybe less expensive in Farmington because the Midwest we got our prices are. The overhead's a lot less than what they have in the big cities. Go price a house out in L.A. or New York.
Yes.
$300,000 house is 700 square feet. But what do you like most about working in a smaller community like that?
Well, I run into a lot of my customers. I see them out and about, and I'll wave at them, say hello to them, and it's nice to be able to see. Like when I worked up here, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. If I'm out and about, I don't know them. And there's so many people. But at home, I go to the grocery store and I say, oh, so and so, or there they are.
Yeah, and that's so true. Working in our community, you better do a good job everywhere because it's a small town. They'll call you out, right?
Yeah.
The word spreads quickly, and they say St. Louis is kind of known for being a big small town. Farmington, likewise, everybody kind of knows everybody. If you're going to be a successful business person, you better do the job right the first time and not take advantage of people because you want to make sure to maintain that good reputation. You've mentioned me a couple stories. If you want to reshare the one we talked about before the show, or give me another example of somebody you knew that was in a tough situation, you knew they were kind of stuck, but you came through for them and helped somebody out, went a little bit above and beyond. You probably do that quite a bit.
Oh, like the garbage disposal, or
yeah, or you talk. Well, that's another one, but a lot of these, I guess. But the gal who had a new heater, and they said, "Oh, charge her." You were working for somebody else who you won't name, of course, but or any other situation you could think of. You probably have these once a week.
I could probably go down a list of people on my phone that they call me and they've had another company come out or they can't get a hold of anybody. Quite often they'll get somebody on the phone, get them on the schedule, and then they never show up. And I think it's surprising, that someone doesn't show up to fix something. I don't know. It's very surprising to me.
Okay. Well, yeah. Give me an example. Think of another one off the top of your head. Somebody you helped relatively recently, and you knew that they had a tough situation, but you went over there and fixed them.
One example was there was a mysterious smell that filled the house. They had several companies come out, months and months worth of let's try this, let's try that, and we come out and I used every single tool I had on my truck to find this. And I said, this is my last ditch thing. and see if there's something wrong with the vent pipe. And I'm like, it may flood a part of the house. I said, let's do it. And sure enough, we got water coming out of one side of a wall, and we said, there's something there. And we found an open pipe in a wall, and they had been struggling with that smell for years, honestly. They had been struggling of it smelled like sewage in their house, and they said they're so embarrassed by the smell. They don't want guests. They don't want nobody over. And we capped it, and I check in on them every once in a while, a couple of weeks. I'm like, is it come back? Is it come back? And they're like, so far it's good. And it's hard to believe such a small problem caused the whole house a problem.
Yeah, so that plumbing or that pipe was going into the sewer somewhere without the water didn't come out of it because it was upline.
It was just so the vent comes through the roof and allows your system to breathe, and it was just disconnected. It wasn't connected to nothing, and it was dumping smell back into the house.
We don't want to dump smell back into the house, everybody, especially bad smell. If it was roses, okay, but they're not.
Yeah.
That's not what's coming back in there. Interesting. Give me another challenge, though, you've personally been through a little bit, if you don't mind, because we all go through challenges as business owners.
Yep.
And is it finding the right people to work with you? Is it trying to grow? What would you say is one of the bigger challenges you've been through as a business owner?
One of the struggles I've had is learning that not everybody works like I do. I always have to remind myself that I'll go until I go to bed, but not everybody will. And so I have to remember this is their working speed, this is their working speed, and this is how they learn, and that's how I learn. It's differently.
I like what you said, the working speed. Write that one down. We all have our own little speed of acceleration, deceleration, or just the pace that we go. And if, so that working speed, somebody they're not as motivated. They're not as whatever it is in their brain. It's just they go at the pace they go at. So you've got to help them understand that, especially when the people are working with you or working for you.
I had a guy who worked with me. He said, my brain doesn't work as fast as yours does because I'll be told the problem and I'll figure out how it worked and the solution, and he's still thinking of, well, how is that a problem? And he told me a couple times, he's like, all right, you got to slow down and tell me how you thought that through. And
yeah, back to we're not good at a lot of things. It sounds like you got the same problem. But my mom said you got this abstract, but you have to understand not everybody's brain works that way.
Yes.
And if you're not going to explain it to them, they're going to get frustrated with you.
Yes.
They're going to go, what is he doing? That didn't make sense. So, take care of everybody and sometimes step back and share a little bit about what you're doing to make that happen. With that, some more fun. I appreciate you served in our military. What branch were you in?
I was in the Marine Corps.
Marines. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Semper Fi, right?
Yes.
I appreciate your service there, and I've become some of my best friends. Okinawa, Camp Lejeune, these places, jumping out of planes and doing fun stuff to help serve our country. But thank you for that. With that, we've got our buddy Will, and he's got a great organization that helps police and those related. A lot of guys come out of the military and then go into the police. I'm not sure if he was military. I think they're not talking about that. But here's Will, Be Inspired. He's doing a lot of fun stuff in our community to help those who've been through the stress that's involved with that. So listen to Will here for. Will Bates, everybody. Will Be Inspired. Tell me about the event you got going on here.
Oh, we got a golf tournament today. Got some people coming out to support our military veterans and first responders. Everything that we raise today goes towards benefiting them, mental and physical health, overall wellness, wellness retreats, outdoor retreats, gym memberships. You think of it, you name it. That's what we do. So this is all to benefit them. I appreciate everybody coming out and taking action. Thank you.
We're Old Hickory Golf Course. Been here for a number of events. Great crowd here.
Yeah.
How many people turn out for this thing so far?
Oh, there'll be at least 170 people here.
170 golfers, everybody. All right, if they need the Cardinal Cowboy to give out some free golf lessons, I might be doing that later. Don't wait for that.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Giddy up. We'll see you guys. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. By now, we are on ABC 5 times a week. So many businesses are loving what we're doing to help them get their name out there. We'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there's no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Professional video on your website closes more sales by instantly building trust, clearly explaining complex products, and keeping visitors engaged longer, reducing bounce rate by 34%. It'll help you to gain that credibility, increase engagement, simplify complex tasks, lower your sales friction, and boost your rankings on the search engine. So this is all kind of a no-brainer. See how we've now had over 500 interviews and now almost 250 different business owners. Go to bigleagues.com. That's bigleagues.com. Go to bigleagues.com and get signed up. You can schedule right from there. So there you have it, everybody. And like I said, it's fun. We're trying to highlight the leaders in our community. But if you'd like to learn a little bit more about how to magnetize your media, pick up our book here. Yours truly wrote the foreword. They said Carter essentially wrote the first chapter. This is a #1 seller on Amazon. But pick that up. Magnetized Media, written by my buddy Willie J. You've seen on my show, and Steve Kidd was on here. And literally, like, if you want to get ahead and how to people who has done a better job than the Cardinal Cowboy, they said to me, with regard to getting their name out, because it's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm a little bit beyond the average person with regard to like what I'm willing to do, because I felt like I was lucky to survive a coma and everything I went to help other people get there. I was the other night, a guy pulled out his camera and just did a scan, sent the video to everybody. Wasn't trying to get me on camera. And then put it out on his Facebook, and he got a text that says, "Hey, are you sitting there with the Cardinal Cowboy?" So that's the fun stuff we get to partake, and we'd like to make people smile. And when you got a good positive attitude and you're helping people, it makes your life a lot easier. I like your approach seems similar to that. Make sure take care of people. But how has technology changed? Websites, social media, reviews. You've done an incredible job with reviews. You've got a lot of reviews on your Facebook page too. But social media, all that stuff, how has that all impacted the way you run your business?
So I use an app to keep track of my schedule, keep track of everything. It actually will message the customer saying I'm on the way. It helps keep my life straight, to be honest. I put my regular schedule on there of like, hey, make sure you're doing this too, and make sure you're doing that. Just kind of a reminder to myself to keep things organized. Yeah,
is that a CRM, client relationship management software? But yeah, that's what I used to sell. And across the country, we were doing one of the biggest products on the planet, and I ended up being the #1 guy in the company for that because I understood the technology side of it. As an IT guy by trade, I built the email systems for industry. Start off answering phones. Hey, how do you send an email? How do you attach a file? Move my way up, but because of my one thing I'm good at, not much I'm good at, but the technology. But how has that helped you to run your business? If you didn't have this kind of software, you wouldn't be able to run the business as effectively. Is that true?
Yeah, it takes place of several employees, to be honest, because like I have the phone, I am the dispatch, but at the same time, when I push I'm on the way, my app tells them I'm on the way, so I don't have to have a person behind the phone calling all the time. And honestly, it helps with invoices. It helps send everything over to the customer and keep everything just on the top notch there, you know.
Yeah, well, communication is so key and being organized. But yeah, you see spreadsheets. Some of my clients, guests will come in here and they see all what we got here, but it's all going to be down to the penny. You want to know what it is, where everything's going, and who's getting paid. And so if you mess up one time, I'll never forget one time I sent everything off, and then I did a reply instead of a forward. So it didn't go to who I was saying, here's what everything's been processed. And then they go, well, that show's not going to air because we didn't get the receipt for whatever. And I was like, geez. And so processed the shows that were airing. They said they didn't get the receipt for the shows that were going to air. So they didn't air.
Yeah.
But technology.
That app also, it's also helped me on looking back on previous things, because it keeps everything for me on the customer's file saying, you did this, you did that, and I can look at what we did. I can see old pictures. I can see, I mean, every little bit of what I've done there. I can monitor, like, oh, you're calling about this. Okay, I remember we did this the last time we were there on the other side of your house, or.
Right, yeah. If you pull up a list of stuff that he's done, it's hard to identify, but when you go through and it's attached to a specific customer, then you know exactly what it was that has been done there. What would you say is one of the biggest mistakes that some of the other companies make, that you make sure your customers don't make that mistake?
One of the biggest mistakes, let's see.
Because we talked a little bit about how they jump on the first bid. Is that one of the biggest mistakes?
One of the biggest.
You see a lot of the guys, they say, here's the cost. Yeah. And they kind of overcharge by accident, basically saying, here's what we can get for it.
Yeah.
And the consumer will make the mistake saying, okay, go for it.
Yeah. I also see a lot of, they also go with products that are also the big names. And there's some products that are out there that are just as good quality, you know, and I always try to treat it like this is my house, this is my wallet, and not everybody can afford the biggest name out there. But there is like, say, this big name has a sister company that's a little cheaper, but it's the same product, you know. And I like to tell them, like, look, this is the same product. It's missing these two bells and whistles, but it's the same thing, and it's this much cheaper. I like to show people that and give them options and things like that, not just, this is what I only have, this is the only thing. I like to be able to give people options on everything.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, and I've learned that more, especially in the automotive industry. There's always 15 different options, and those bells and whistles, you're not going to use them anyway, right?
Some people won't.
Look at all the features under the sun, and then they try to do something like, I never even use that option.
Yeah.
But they spend extra for it. So you could get the good quality stuff that's been around, but you don't have to buy the top tier, especially if you know how to pick that apart. That's what you help your customers to disseminate, too.
Yeah, and kind of try to see what they will use, what they won't use. Kind of parts like, example, inside of a toilet, there's a liner in there that kind of helps it from sweating. Well, not every toilet has that, and not everybody has a bathroom that'll make it sweat. You know, not everybody needs that in their house.
Okay. Yeah, I've worked on my toilets a little bit, and is there a liner? Maybe we got the cheaper version, but maybe we don't have that problem.
Yeah.
But how would you know that? And that's something that you don't realize. That's, again, back to get yourself an expert who knows whether or not you need these things, and if you should spend the money to do that, because by the time you try to do it yourself, and you can go to the big box stores and buy the stuff and try to install it yourself, and then you end up having bigger problems later. Not necessarily the best approach. Tell me the process if somebody wants to hire you. Go to your website. We got that up on the wall here. People can get a hold of you there. You got the contact information, contact us, phone number, etc., or get through your Facebook.
They can call or text me either way. I got the phone all the way till 9, you know, every night. So I've answered the phone, been on the phone until 11 p.m. talking to somebody, just helping them walk through something they could do themselves, even that they got done that night for themselves.
Cool. Well, for those people who can't do it themselves, once they've got a hold of you, then the next process is schedule a time for you to come out.
Schedule a time, yep. And then my app, like I said, it sends over a text message letting them know about the appointment, tells them when we'll be there, what time we'll be there, and kind of give them an update as it goes along. If they need to cancel, they can text that number, or they can give me a call back either way if they need to cancel or change it or anything like that. Yeah,
there you go. Because how often is it the case? The communication has got to be there. Yeah. They're like, oh, he's on his way. Where is this guy at? And to them, it was an hour and a half. They look at their watch. It was only 20 minutes. But they get that update. It says, he's 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the UPS thing. You can update people with your current location and let people know what's going on. There you go. There's some like cutting-edge technology, everybody. We're using some stuff there. That's not too hard to get, but if you know where to look for it, obviously, Aaron has done a good job researching stuff to use to make his company, his business more effective to help people. But that is the process. And then how long does it typically take for you to get to somebody?
It really depends on the situation. Example, we just put in 4 different sub pump pits. Well, those take most of the day. So those ones were out a little bit. But we try to squeeze people in where we can. We've got one set up for next week for a sub pump pit. I also squeezed in a small job after that we can get done that day as well. So it just depends on the situation, depends on the job. If it's something pretty large, it's like, oh, I'm going to have to schedule that one a little further out because I need a full day for it. If it's something pretty small, it's like, hey, I can get you tomorrow, So.
Yeah. So and if there's a crisis, something that's you can squeeze it in, you'll
I'll squeeze
run
it
out,
in.
or maybe you can talk them through it over the phone. You
Yep.
talked about too. Willing to help in any fashion. Aaron Gray, everybody. Puddles Plumbing. Before I move too far ahead here, tell me a little about the name Puddles, if you want to share that with everybody. It's kind of a neat story.
Yeah. Well, my first name being Aaron, I tried to get A plumbing, A plus plumbing, anything with an A. But the phone book days, they kind of took that away from me. So I was unable to do that. Me and Dad were sitting there with the computer, and he's like, come on, Puddles, think of a name, because he's called me Puddles my whole life. And I was like, all right. And I typed in Puddles Plumbing. It came up free to use, and I said, there it is. And he's like, you can't use that. And I'm like, why not? And I call you that. And I'm like, well, maybe everybody else will now too. So
There you go. Some family background there and some of the connectivity we have with all of those who care about us. What's the biggest question people always have? Is it like, how soon can you be here, or price, or what's the range? You say?
A lot of times it's, can you give me a bid? Can you give me anything like that? And I usually have people text me and show me what they've got going on, and I usually can get them a bid on the phone. A lot of times is how soon can you get over here? It's just one of those things. I need more people to get there faster, though.
Well, so that means you're hiring. Is that true?
Well, eventually, yeah.
You're hiring. You're looking for the right people. You want
Yes.
to get some people who got good quality experience. If you got some experience, shoot a text over. Can they text you at 573?
Oh yeah.
880-0410. That's your business cell phone, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
that's the cell phone.
The app or whatever may all come through there. But if you're looking for work and you're qualified, don't waste his time just because you're looking. He's not training people. He wants somebody with experience a little bit and is willing to put the work in. Is that true?
That's true.
So that's good. We're all looking for those experts who can help us to grow our business. As we finish up here, what ultimately gives you the most satisfaction about what you do at the end of the day?
Like I said before, I really enjoy it when I get to the house and the little old lady says, I'm so glad you're here. It definitely has a satisfaction of I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I should be doing,
Yeah, so that's what we're looking for. Something that makes us feel good about how we're contributing to this little planet. A lot of people get caught up with how much money can I make? And the money, I know some people that are very wealthy that are not the happiest because it's not about how much money you make. It's about how do you contribute on this little planet to make a difference and to help others. And you got a great strategy here. So I think that's what Aaron said. Write that one down, everybody. Do what's right, help people, and you will have a successful and happy business and life on this little planet. And I can get into all kinds of discussion about what happens after life on this planet. Maybe we'll have a show all dedicated to that. Stay tuned for more, everybody. This is the Your Little Castle Show. Giddy up.